Hi, I'm Julia.
And I'm Sue.
Welcome to Sticks and Stones Podcast. Today on Sticks and Stones, episode 34, we will be learning to darn socks. We'll also take a look at some of the things we've been working on, some new projects, and some spinning, knitting, and carving. Come on back and join us. So hi and welcome back.
Welcome back.
Here we are. It's cold still.
It's cold, if you can see out the back. It's snowy as all get out.
Well, yeah, I think they're just going to see a white bright light, 'cause at least it's sunny today. But yeah, we've had our fair share of snow.
Yes.
And ice.
And days off from school.
Oh my gosh, yes, more days off. I think, seriously, these kids are going to be going through like mid-June now. It's going to be kind of sad. But
Yes, we'll be sad in June.
well, they'll be sad.
That's right. We can be drinking margaritas on the porch.
We can go to the
we'll
pool.
be podcasting out there.
Yeah, that would be fun. So, but yeah, it's good. We're here and it's warm, and we did not lose power, which is a blessing.
Yes.
For any of those who did in this last storm, I really hope you've got it back by now.
Yes. Yeah, that's always the scary part, if you don't have an alternative heat source that doesn't require electricity.
Yeah, that worried me, because every time we've lost power thus far, it's been in the fall, because that seems to be when most of our natural disasters happened around here.
You know, that's a recent thing, though.
Yeah.
It is.
I've only been here for the past couple of
It
years.
is.
And every year it's been in the fall. But so I was worried about our food, but not about whether it would be warm or not. And then last week our heater did go out for a day. And let me tell you, that was not cool. Because I don't know the first thing about boilers. I don't know anything about, we have an oil heater system, so we have these giant oil tanks in the basement. And I was worried about them leaking. I was worried about,
Yes.
I don't know anything. So
I have gas heat, but you need an electric blower to blow the air out into the house. So if I don't have electricity, I still don't have heat.
yeah.
So
Yeah, we're all dependent on that electricity.
Yes.
So
we need fireplaces.
I know, I was thinking that. I can do the apocalypse. I've got a garden in the backyard. I know how to knit, but I don't have any way to make fire.
Well, we have one of those little fireplaces that you put outside, and I always joke about, we'll just bring it in the living room and start burning the furniture.
And with all this nice, old, dry, 100-year wood in our house.
That'll keep the neighborhood warm.
There we go. Bonfire in her house. Well, what have you been working on besides not setting your house on fire?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of the things that we did with the children home. I was trying to get them to work on that chair. Remember the chair I showed that I would like to weave? And every time I'm like, hey kids, let's do this. They're like, yeah, I don't wanna.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna eventually end up doing it myself, which is fine, but I thought it would be fun for them to do it. What we did do though instead was soap carving.
Oh, cool.
And that's a Christmas tree, and this is a cardinal.
What does it say? Oh,
Ivory. And this is a nest with a little bird in it.
Oh, those are cute.
So we use this book. My daughter got soap carving, this, another book, and tools, which really the tools are honestly popsicle sticks that have been just kind of cut.
Okay.
But, it's worth it to just buy them.
Yeah.
And so this is a fun thing. It makes a huge mess, but it's soap, and it's ivory soap.
Yeah.
It's so cheap that you can just keep going and buying more at the grocery store.
That's really fun.
So yeah. The other thing is you have to keep it away from your pets. My dog likes to eat the shavings.
Yum.
That we found out over the summer when we were doing it. So, but anyway, this was one of the things that we did to keep ourselves occupied. This and some pottery, which I didn't bring, but
Cool.
I made the little bird.
Yeah, it's got slightly more detail on it. But
Well, this is my son's first try, and I had to help him a lot because they have a hard time thinking in 3 dimensions. Because really, when you're trying to do that, you're starting. This is the picture of the bird. You can see it, and it looks so much better.
oh yeah.
But you're starting with a square bar of soap, and
Right.
so it's hard for kids to think. If kids don't sculpture, and so you draw the pattern on it.
Oh, I see.
And so they think of it as flat instead of like you have to curve the beak and stuff. So it's really, it's an interesting
That's really good for a first try then.
exercise for them. Well,
Yeah.
I did a large version of that because there was some tears.
Aw.
So I was like, here, do the tree. And the other thing is if you take the tool and you take off too big of a chunk, he was trying to make a heart and the heart kept getting smaller. I said, look, you can still make the heart. And then I just knock off another chunk. I'm like, you can still make a tiny heart. So honestly, the first few times, you just make a huge mess of just soap everywhere. There's just soap and you end up with like this. This was actually the result of something else. I think this was the first cardinal, and it kept getting smaller and smaller, and I was like, well, I'm just going to carve something out of it.
That's cute.
And then this, I don't know, I think this was going to be a turtle, and it turned into a nest. So, but it's a fun little thing to do with kids.
Yeah,
so.
I would not have thought to do that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And then the other thing that I just whipped this up, honestly, before I came here. And I went to yoga today. When I'm doing yoga, sometimes I'm like, oh, you know what I'm going to do when I get home? And I've been thinking about using rivets. So I didn't get very far, but just a few rivets and a piece of leather. And so it's cute, isn't it? So, I mean, you know, it's pretty easy then to make bracelets. Maybe once you know, you just have to put a hole here and a clasp and you could wear that.
I thought at first it was a headband, but it's really it'd be a cute headband, but it's it's not rigid enough.
You could glue it onto a headband.
Yeah. That's really cute with the flower. So maybe think of it.
Yeah, so anyway, maybe once I practice with my rivets a little bit, I always think I'm saying that word wrong, maybe we can do rivets.
Yeah.
Rivets. So there's that, and the other thing is, this is just an inspiration. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Okay.
I went to the store to buy something, and they had turquoise waxed linen, waxed linen cord. I use it all the time.
It a lot.
It has a different feel, and I use it when I'm making horsehair jewelry. And I was like, oh my goodness, turquoise! So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's gonna be something, I don't know. Something fun. This would be fun to actually crochet into a little bracelet.
I was thinking that. I bought some at a basket making shop a while back, and I was thinking of, I was using it for like not a chain, but yeah.
For a necklace.
Yeah, for a necklace, so that, because if I made something that I wanted to still be somewhat fiber related, at least it's a fiber rather than a metal chain. But I bet you could do something really fun with it if you actually crocheted or knitted it.
Yeah, this is...
And it would stay in shape, right?
Right. Yeah, this is a little bit easier work. It's stiffer than yarn or string, or it's sort of almost this consistency of hemp.
Okay.
Sort of. It's a little more pliable than hemp, but you know, because it's waxed, you can see it'll just stand straight up.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So,
kind of like it's got wire to an extent.
Yeah, but it's just waxed.
Very cool. To see what this turns
How far
into.
I don't know what it's gonna be. I just had to buy it. It's one of those had to buy it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So, and the only other thing, I haven't really done much. So I'm trying to be inspired, and I found this new book at the library, Art Made from Books.
Ooh.
So I'm excited to page through this and just find some really fun, different things that people have used books for. Because I do have a few old books that I keep not being able to part with. I should just recycle them, and I'm like, but maybe.
Ooh, but look.
What is that?
It's spun. It's spun paper.
That's pretty cool.
Oh.
Spun paper on a spool.
Oh, that's really pretty neat. Actually, it's probably twisted, but it looks like it's spun.
That would be fun. Maybe I'll have to check it out. It's all about the different artists who created these things.
Very fun.
So anyway, January or I guess it's not even January anymore. February. Oh my goodness, is a time to be inspired. I think, for the new year of different types of crafting. So there we go.
Yeah, I've kind of been doing the same. All the projects I've worked on the past week or so have been smallish. I haven't done anything real substantial, and I just feel like, you know, if I can do a little bit of this and a little bit of that and just get some things accomplished without feeling pressure for deadlines, that it's been kind of nice. So on our snow day, we actually crafted too. We made this this absolutely crazy 5 skeins of brightest yellow orange that you could possibly find. Yeah. We kettle dyed in the crock pot. And
it's really pretty.
Yeah, I think it turned out neat. It's got a little more white in it in some places than I expected it to. Once I reskeined it,
but then there's some red parts too.
Well, we're slowly learning that if you don't dilute the food coloring before you pour it into the pot, and you just dab it on, even in water, it'll soak it up immediately, and that's where these really dark sections came from, and that little bit of red. It was, yeah, and there's like bright yellow that came from the same thing. But on the other hand, if you have a white spot that you don't want, it's so nice to be able to just dab it on there, and there, that white spot's gone. So this is going to be the next birthday sweater. I am going to custom make a sweater for my oldest.
Wow.
Because this is her last. This is going to be the last big thing I do for a while, because she's getting so big. It takes almost as much yarn to make her a sweater as it does to make me a sweater. And I don't think I'll be able to do this size every year, times 3. So the projects are going to get smaller from here. And so this one, she has an idea, and now I just need to swatch for it and draw up the sketch and see how it works.
Wow.
I got 3 months to do it.
That'll be fun to see it all come together.
Yeah, so please, encouragement. Keep me on track.
Go, Julia.
I gotta do
Julia. It's a sweater. It's a sweater.
But this was fun. We had
I
a
can
really
hit
good
it in
time with that.
pom-poms. Whoa, team!
Sue always has very creative inspirations for what to do with the yarn.
It's because I can't knit it.
Well, I did do this too. And this actually, I know it looks really weird, but it's a hat, and it's blocking, it's wet right now. So I am hoping it's
cool.
stretching out nicely. We'll see how big it is when it gets done. But when I put it on this morning, it was very tight on my head, and I don't really like a tight hat, but I wanted the double layer around my ears from the Fair Isle section.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that getting it wet and drying it and stretching it will give it enough give that it'll be a little more comfortable. I find that with my hair, if I wear a tight hat, it looks really weird. It's just like I get this big sproing below it, and it looks really strange. So this is
like Mrs. Weasley then.
Yeah, yeah, which may or may not be a good thing depending on how much you like Mrs. Weasley. But so that's my hat that's blocking, and I made this last week. And then I don't know how many of you saw when Sue and I took our field trip to the farmer's market. I bought some fiber.
That's right, our field trip. I was thinking about that today. Last week at the farmer's market, they had someone spinning.
Oh, really?
At the, I can't think of the name of the stand, but it's right inside the door next to compost. So
Okay.
it wasn't where we got the fiber. It was at a different vendor. They had spinning.
Huh.
So.
Well, yeah. So I've been spinning this. This is the fiber we bought, and I think it's Corriedale. If I remember right, it was Corriedale. It was 4 ounces, and it's got all these different colors in it. And this is what I've made with it so far.
Wow.
And my idea was to make it a 3-ply. Oh, my bobbin's broken. Oh, sorry. I was going to make a 3-ply, but I forgot to split it appropriately. So this is going to end up being a 2-ply after all. Because this is half and this is half. So instead of, I don't know, I'm not sure what it's going to be now. I was going to make socks with it, but I wanted a 3-ply for my socks. So we'll see what it turns out as. But I'm really happy with it. The color's really cool.
They are. They really pop.
Yeah.
There were so many different ones to pick from. They had some really neat color combinations.
Yeah, so that's my first bobbin is done, and I just have to do the second one, and they'll apply them together. So I've been working on that slowly but surely.
Yeah, we had a little, we walked through the snow to the farmer's market, and I enticed Julia there by telling her that there was going to be a wool vendor there. And what was it, Woolcroft?
I think so, yeah. You can't avoid going somewhere where there's wool, you know. Especially if it's 5 minutes from your house.
That's right.
So it was a fun trip.
It was a fun trip.
And then
when we went to the farmer's market, we then went to a place called Salvage Goods that sells old stuff, and we found a darning.
That's right. We did find one,
which we're going to be doing today.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
She thought it was an Easter egg, but we learned otherwise.
See, darn it! I didn't know.
No. So yeah.
Actually, you know what it was? I thought it was a maraca.
Oh,
that's right. I thought it was a maraca, but it was with the buttons.
Right.
And I picked it up and I shook it, and it didn't make any noise.
No.
That's what you could use if you don't have
a maraca. That's a good idea.
If you don't have a darning egg, if you have a maraca.
Yeah, we'll be talking about some of those different ideas a little bit later.
Yes. So, but what else?
Well, I was going to show you the last thing I did. Was I put together the little necklace from our project last time.
Nice. I like it.
Put it together quickly. I want to put some beads or something on it too. I'm not sure quite how I'm going to do that yet because it's got little leaves on it. I'll take it off so you can look at it. And I'm not really good at my joining of things yet because my jump ring just broke. But there it is.
It's all good.
It's cute.
It's
and
very cute. I'm
really happy with the, like, I wasn't sure how to attach all those little guys, and they worked out pretty good.
I think you did a great job.
The only thing I need to look at, I suppose, is I don't think these are going to be too sharp, but I've only been wearing it for about an hour. And if it gets like twisted or caught, if I should
if we should file
sand
them
down those corners a little bit.
Oh yeah,
it is
I
a
can see
square, and I don't really want to be, poked by it. But I love it. I think it turned out really cute. So that's something you can do with your metal
definitely sand
engraving.
it. You know what else would be fun is to put polymer clay around the edge and make a
Oh yeah.
little window frame and let it dry.
See all these good ideas. So
It's cute.
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. So I'll set that down. But so yeah, as Sue said, today we're going to be talking about darning because I'm going to show you guys how to darn some socks in our DIY today.
Fun.
I think hopefully it will be a useful tool to throw in your little inventory and save yourself some time in the long run.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we'll be right back to show you. For today's DIY, I'm going to be showing you how to darn socks. Everybody works really hard on their hand-knit socks and they take hours and hours and hours, and when they do get holes in them, we have two choices really. We can throw them away. We can, well, three choices. You can cut them up and try to use the pieces for something else, or you can darn them. I found that my socks tend to wear out after about 5 years, and all of a sudden I have a million socks with lots of holes in them. So I've gotten pretty good at darning, and I thought I would share that with you. So to darn your socks, you're going to need obviously a pair of socks. You will need some kind of round implement, a darning egg or a light bulb, sometimes people will recommend, but that to me seems kind of dangerous. Or a ball, just something to kind of spread out the section so that it's easily worked with. You need some kind of yarn of the same weight, either whatever you have lying around, if you don't mind a contrast, or scraps of your original yarn, and then a darning needle or tapestry needle. So typically I try to catch my holes while there's still a little bit of yarn there and just do a duplicate stitch. And that, when you work with it, will look like this. It'll give you a little bit of a bump in your sock, but ultimately I think unless your feet are really sensitive, this is the safer way to go than waiting till you have a full-fledged hole. And for duplicate stitch, we've gone over that before. You just follow the path of the stitching to reinforce the stitches that were already there or to create some kind of pattern. So I did that here, I did that over here on the side, and then I did a couple different darns down here at the bottom, which look pretty messy, but as you can see, over time they do flatten back out again. Sometimes though, you do find a sock that has an actual hole. And this is unfortunate, but we can fix it. So I'm going to show you guys today how to fix this hole. The first thing you're going to want to do is take your darning egg or whatever the round object you found and put it inside. This just kind of gives it some stability so that you can work against it. And then you're going to want to thread your tapestry needle with the yarn you're going to use. Now what I do is I make kind of a set of cross lines here. And so I will start by putting my needle in about one stitch outside of the hole. And then I leave a long tail, which I'll tuck in later. I just bring it back and forth and work my way up the side of the hole on both sides. This gives cross pieces that we can use to weave up later. So as you can see, I've got a couple stitches going up, or a couple lines going across the hole now. You definitely want to cover the entire size of the hole. This will give it a little more stability so you won't find the hole coming back again in a couple of wears. So just go back and forth until you think you've got it pretty much covered. From here you have two options. You can either weave back and forth the other direction and cover your hole that way, or you can do a second method, which is basically re-knitting up the length of the strands that you've put in now, and that's what I'm going to show you next. So I neglected to mention earlier that to do this method you will need a crochet hook, and I'm just using this little teeny one, but any crochet hook will work as long as it is similar in size to the original needle that you used. And what I do is I come down here to where my stitches are below the hole, and I just pick up one of the stitches. It doesn't really matter which one you pick up as long as it's below your new strands that you've put in. And then you just basically, like you're fixing a ladder or fixing a dropped stitch, crochet your way up using your new strands. Oops. Easier said than done sometimes. And what this does is it makes a new layer of yarn over top of the hole while reinforcing the edges so that when you walk on it, you're not walking on the hole or on the old stitches that are getting thin, but you're walking on the new firm stitches. When you get to the top, you can use your tapestry needle and just hold the stitches for the end. So I'm going to do that now, and I will finish up the rest of these stitches. So I just slide this onto the tapestry needle here, and then I go back down to the bottom and pick up another stitch. My hole was about 3 stitches wide, so I'm going to do about 3 new rows. So I finished laddering up these couple of stitches here, and my hole is closed, and I've got my 3 stitches on my tapestry needle. You can either hook up one more like I did on the first and last if you can find a good stitch there, or you can just bring up the last loop of your contrast yarn. Either way is fine. And so then I take what was on my tapestry needle to begin with, and I just pull it through. So those stitches are now caught. And I tuck that end into the sock. I'll pull out my darning egg, and then you can weave that end right in on the inside like you would normally. And when you are finished, you no longer have a hole. Sorry,
I should have brought my socks. I have a sock with a hole in it. I don't know why I didn't think to bring it. I could have darned it. Darned it! I forgot my sock.
That would have been good.
But in the meantime, sock puppets.
Yeah, so
that was that's my fault. I love it. You should darn over here, even though you don't need it, and make it. And look, there's his tongue.
2 eyes and a tongue on the bottom of my foot.
You know I can't help it but do sock puppets. Sock puppets, so much fun.
Thank you.
Thanks
for joining us today at Sticks and Stones, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.